This score
in the event, Montreal's Annie Peltier. The former champion failed to qualify for the final round, and this is why.
Steve, she's performing 3 new dives in her list, and this, the forward 3 1/2 somersault in the pike position, is her most difficult dive. She's one of 2 or 3 women in the world using this dive right now, and she had a bad takeoff. She tried hard, but just not enough room. So a combination of factors in that, she missed the finals.
So Annie will have some extra time to think about what went wrong.
I think I didn't focus on the good thing. Of course, I wanted to put my dives on my head. And before this, I should have think more about my technique. And that's what I was missing. And also, I was very nervous. I felt pressure. I should have more focus, more on my technique than try to impress the people, to show them that I could do those dives in competition, not only in practice, but also in competitions.
So with Annie Peltier in the stands, Paige Gordon is the leader after 8 rounds, and José Dion leads Mary Depiro by 10 points in the battle for second place. This is 16-year-old Myriam Boileau of Montreal.
And her dive is the inward 2 1/2 somersault in the tuck position. The DD on this is 2.7. A great dive. It was smooth, good tight tuck position, and a great lineup for the entry into the water. Very, very smooth and in control. She's a very strong diver, very strong legs. She explodes off the board, excellent positioning, and right in on the entry.
The scores for Boileau, who won the 10-meter title, 2 6.5s and 5 7s for a 55.89 total. This is 18-year-old Anne José Dion, currently in second place.
And her dive is also the inward 2 1/2 somersault in the tuck position. This will be a great judging comparison here. 2 divers doing the same dive back to back. An excellent dive. It went just a hair past the perfect vertical entry, but she had a lot of explosion off the board. She looked tight and in control also. A very dynamic diver. She pops off the board. She looks like she knows exactly what she's doing. A great entry. Just let it go by on that perfect vertical entry.
Good scores for Anne José, 1 7, 5 7.5s, and 1 8 for a total of 60.75. And now 25-year-old Mary Depiro from Thunder Bay, 5-time winner of this event, a great competitor.
And she will be performing the back 1 1/2 somersault with 2 1/2 twists. And she had trouble on that dive right off the start. She controlled it fairly well for the takeoff that she did. She leaned back and a shoulder went a little bit cockeyed right at the start. So that's why we saw a few wobbles in the middle. Let's take a look again, Steve. You can see here she's moving back and she drops her shoulder there. So she's out of alignment, has to struggle the whole way. She struggles well and puts it down, but the judges will deduct some scores.
They did 1.6, 5 6.5, and 1.7 for Mary Depiro, 54.60. There's the leader, Paige Gordon, who knows what it takes to win.
I think in order to compete with the best in the world, you have to be very strong. You have to be able to finish your dives very high in the air, and you have to have the power to get up and do the really difficult dives. I worked really hard this year, and I've noticed a big improvement in my strength, and hopefully by August, things will look even better.
And Gordon was looking great with this dive in the 8th round.
The reverse 2 1/2 somersault in the pike position, a very difficult dive, and she showed us that she knows how to perform this dive. It was absolutely incredible. A near perfect dive.
3 8.5s, 3 8s, and 1 7.5. Now, Gordon's dive in the 9th round.
And this is the inward 2 1/2 somersault in the pike position. She shows great concentration here. It moved well. Her head was on her knees in the pike. It was smooth, went straight in on the bottom. If I have any criticism at all, I think her toes might have flattened just a little bit as she entered the water. But other than that, it was spectacular. We look at the replay here. We remember back to the feature where I said it's very important to have your head on your knees so you can spin quickly. She shows us perfect form. Again, a look, and spectacular takeoff here. She's moving well. And her toes may flatten a little bit on the bottom, but it was great.
3 7s, 1 7.5, and 3 8s for a total of 67.50. So with one dive remaining, Gordon has a lock on a third title. Dion is a solid second, and Depiro trails by 15 points in third. This is Myriam Boileau.
Her dive is the back 1 1/2 somersault with 1 1/2 twist, the DD 2.4. This is a relatively simple dive, but we must remember she's only 16 years old. A very good dive. It was smooth, it was controlled, it moved back from the board a little bit and wobbled a little bit on the entry, but a very solid final dive. A strong takeoff here, but you can see she is moving back, and as she lines up, she does have a bit of movement going into the water.
The scores for Myriam, 2 6.5s and 5 7s for a total of 49.68. And now the final dive for Anne-Josée Dion.
This is the back 1 1/2 somersault with 2 1/2 twist, DD 2.8. Anne-Josée always counts on this dive. She's a very solid, strong twister, and she knows she can put this one in when she needs it. It's a good dive, but she was really scrambling on the bottom. I think when we look at the replay, we'll be able to see that she had trouble in the takeoff, so just didn't have enough room in the air to complete the dive for a great strong lineup. On the takeoff here, she's not quite as strong and poppy as she normally is, so she's finishing the dive low and has trouble on the bottom.
And now Dion can only hope that those marks will be enough to keep her in second place. Final dive for Mary Depiro. Needs 7.5 to beat Anne-Josée in the battle for second.
And this is the inward 2 1/2 somersault in the pike position. High DD of 3.0. It's a good dive, however, she finished low to the water. If she wants to score 8s and above, she has to have the somersault finished closer to board level, so it looks like it has a long drop on the bottom. Here we can see a very good pike position. Her head is also right on her knees, but she's just doesn't have enough room to get a good entry on the bottom.
The scores for Mary Depiro, 1 6, 4 6.5, and 2 7s for a total of 59.40. That will not be enough to move Mary into second position. This is the leader, Paige Gordon, who would almost have to miss the dive completely not to win the 3-meter title.
And this dive is the back 1 1/2 somersault with 2 1/2 twists. It's normally a great final dive. I guess, Steve, we can look at here. She has almost no pressure going into this dive. Let's see how well she can perform it without that pressure. It's an incredible dive. was great on the start, and it went straight in the water. I know we'll see high scores here.
8.5, 8 et 7.5. Celle-ci termine l'épreuve.
A good solid takeoff, and her twisting action is so quick. She gets right into it, twists well, her legs and toes are together, and she has lots of room for a lineup, controls the bottom, takes the splash down with her.
The scores for Paige, 1.7.5, 3/8, and 3/8.5 for a total of 68.88. And check the total for Paige Gordon, 540.24, 64 better than second place. Now, let's go to Janet, again on the pool deck.
Paige, an incredible performance this afternoon, another Canadian championship under your belt. How does it feel?
Well, it's good because at least now I have a base to work on. I've been working very hard this year because it's Commonwealth Games and World Championships coming up in a couple months. And now I sort of know where I stand, and I know that I can build on this, and it feels really nice.
Your diving just flowed today. Is there anything that you were specifically looking at during the competition or thinking about that made it all come together?
Well, I tried to dive sort of a competition within myself and not think about anybody else. I sort of excluded myself from everybody else and just went out and dove my own event, and I think it really worked well.